Good morning, Manchester United fans all over the world. How we are doing this morning? For some are morning, for some it's afternoon, for some I don't even know it's evening, but for us it's morning, and I'm freshly woken up. I am having a double espresso, to be honest, because Mick just woke up like 45 minutes ago after doing a post-match reaction show to 7 a.m. in the morning. Yes, that's right. I'm 7 hours ahead of UK, and it's brutal. It is brutal because the game kicked off at 3:15 morning. And then, on the other hand, the aftermath is what we're going to talk about. It is the aftermath, the day after we beat the press, with SAL Warner is in the house, Mark is in the house. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about everything. So please stretch your legs, stretch your arms, get that blood flow going into your body, because here we go.
Has the Premier League ever been more challenging?
Right, wel. I feel welcome. Dit is mijn home and I want to achieve success. Okay?
And boy, did we achieve success. Good morning to you, Sal. How are you doing? How you doing?
Good morning. Good morning. Well, good afternoon here in Abu Dhabi.
In Abu Dhabi.
I'm doing fantastic. Couldn't sleep last night. Was buzzing because of the game. Couldn't get my heart rate down. So I just just stayed up all night. Forget it.
Tell me about it. You were chatting to me after, before we went live. You said, when United's playing, especially when you live so far away from the original time, you can't sleep. You can't sleep because the aftermath is the worst. If we lose, you stick thinking what happened? What happened? You're upset. If you win, you're just high on, endorphins. You know what I mean? The dopamines, the adrenaline rush.
Exactly. Or you can just take a gulp of whiskey and it'll be that's it,
Not that we promote that kind of substance.
Not that we promote that kind of substance. But yeah, you got to stay awake. You got to try and get some rest because you're going to kill yourself otherwise.
Yeah,
that's a problem.
Right. Listen, whatever are you drinking? A cup of tea, coffee, whatever what's your flavor?
I've already had 2 espressos and 1 latte so far. So that's
brilliant.
That's not good. Don't be deceived by the shirt.
This is my poison, by the way. I don't know how many of these bad boys I have per day, but too much. So basically, when I relocated over to Thailand, the first thing that I packed in my suitcase, guess what I was?
Coffee machine.
Yeah, my big ass barista machine that weighs 8 kilos. Seriously. Crisis. What kind of crisis? Mark, talk to us. Did we beat the press? Did Ten Hag beat the press and silence the lamb or silence the critics? Did the players respond yesterday? Did they look like Ten Hag has lost the dressing room? You're on mute. Do we have a sign language specialist in here to come in the bottom to do this?
Morning. Sorry.
Morning.
Morning, Sal. Morning, Mick.
Morning,
VR rumors. I think, it was one of those games where if you were wondering if the manager has lost the dressing room, then it may be 1% of the dressing room. You know what I mean? Those players looked like they were playing for the manager. They were playing for the badge. They looked like they came out with fight. They had the energy and they had the tactics. They had everything last night. It was one of those games where everything we were asking for, we were looking for, we got it. We could become a little bit critical about the finishing last night. Should have had 5 goals.
True.
But at the same time, when you could complain about that, it's always a good day as a football club. You know what I mean? You dominated the game and you just couldn't, destroy the team, but basically you won the game well. So that's my thoughts.
When you say lost 1%, let's call Samuel Lockhurst, because he claimed he's lost 50%. Sal, let's call Lockhurst because basically listen, if we were lost that game yesterday, I bet you that Lockhurst had a hit piece already prepared, and all those banned media, Dawson and all of them, right? Ogden's and But anyway, it was beautiful display yesterday. Sal, talk to us. What did you
listen? I put on a shirt today for the funeral of the Ten Hag outers. Yeah, because this whole Ten Hag crap that we're hearing all week. You couldn't get away from it. You couldn't get away from it. But last night, it proved to a lot of people that those players are with the manager. Maybe a couple are not. Maybe the ones who weren't playing are not with the manager. maybe, but last night we saw effort, we saw non-stop running. And I loved McTominey's comment last night, when he said, oh, we had some light training, so we have more energy. So we have more energy for today, sarcastically, a little slight dig at Luckhurst or, whatever his name is, So hopefully it's the start of something and we win at the weekend. And
we got to talk about that as well. You know what? At the end of the day, like, for them that was crying out, sharpening the knives.
It's embarrassing. It's a disgrace. That's what it is, a disgrace.
It's a disgrace, to be honest. But I'm going to be fair. Like, I got to stick to my word because I am Ten Hag. I am always been Ten Hag. But after the Newcastle game, I put myself in a Ten Hag doubt. And you know what I did that? Because I'm putting pressure on the manager right now to prove us fans that you can do something different. Don't pick those team that you did against the Newcastle game. And he responded. He beat the press. He silenced me. He silenced everyone. Because what did he do? When the team sheet came out, I was like, Scott McTominay again, that midfield. But to be honest, Sal, like in the first 15 minutes, we were still open in that midfield, and there was kind of like, the same old, like, Scott McTominay and Bruno was not disciplined. But then Tankarabat, Tankarabat came into life, and we got the answer why we bought Amrabat, because he was the man of the match, in my opinion. He was the pivotal instrument that they registered from minute 1 to minute 95. They allowed people to flourish, right? They allowed, like, he was basically holding that single pivot, allowing Scott McTominay to score 2 goals, allowing Bruno to perform his best game as well. But it's also allowing the wing plays, the wingers to bomb forward, the fullbacks to bomb forward. It was just a beautiful display of football. It took us 19 minutes till we scored, right? But on the other hand, like, we could have got that penalty. Clearly there was studs, there was yellow card, red card for me on Enzo Fernandes yesterday. But it looks like VR and the ref, Kavanagh, was on our side yesterday. And finally, we have the footballing gods on our side. We could have easily been up 4-0 in the first half, But as you said, we didn't finish that dinner. But for me, the aftermath is that players responded to the manager's critique. The manager responded to the press critique. And this is what I wanted to see, like, it's a little bit of a fight, determination, and press. And let's talk about the press, because according to my opinion, correct me if I'm wrong, the one that was leading the press was Rasmus Hojlund.
Rasmus Hojlund is going to go unnoticed because he didn't score a goal again. But those of us who are a bit more savvy with football knowledge will understand the game. It's not just about scoring goals. It's about creating space for other players. He created space for Bruno, and he never stopped running. He pressed all game. He wasn't walking around the pitch. Amrabat, as you said, was excellent. He covered every blade of grass. Him and Bruno covered every blade of grass, and that's what we wanted. Just a bit of effort. What's that saying? When talent doesn't work, effort. What's effort. That saying? Effort comes to the fore. And that's what we saw yesterday. And as Ferguson always said, if you have to, effort is like 50% of talent. So we have to.
It is. You can have abundance of talents, but if you don't have determination and effort and will, then you kind of will not get you anywhere. Mark, anyway, big up to you as well for coming in here. You look like very sleepy as well. So whatever you're drinking.
I just look sleepy. I'm up. I was just super excited last night, like Sal, you know what I mean? I couldn't sleep. I was just up buzzing. The performance was really good. Like, I'm really happy for Antony. A lot of people wouldn't mention it, but he's been getting a lot of stick. And, you have to praise the guy. He came back last night, gave a great performance, his energy going forward, his aggression going, in defense. It helped bring the game and make it easier for Sofyan. The wingers provided that width. They bombed forward. They came backward. They helped defend. You know what I mean? They created spaces. They kept it wide. They pushed up. They attacked their player. They took on their men one-on-one. So, it was one of those games where it was good to see, not just for the fact of the players in the starting 11, but some players who are there that have been questioned, and they're showing that, I'm going to answer those questions. I'm going to face the press, and I'm going to, you know, beat it. And that's just what we could say about it. You know what I mean?
Okay, like, so, like, you know, despite all of this, what we talked about, we still have to talk about some negatives, right? We cannot always give roses, roses, roses. According to my opinion, in the 44th minute, you know, there is always an elephant in the room, and that elephant is the usual falling asleep, right? We're talking about that easy, I mean, I call it a wet fart goal by Cole Palmer. Like, you know, what happened there? You have both Maguire and Lindelof tracking the player, and he just gets a free pass, like a fizzle shot, like a wet fart shot, like, you know, that goes in the corner. And I was going, now, what the hell happened there? Because for me, we control the game. They look toothless. Of course, they had a few shots with Mudryk and everything. We sorted them out wide. It didn't work out. But what I'm praising is that Ten Hag was ruthless yesterday. I'm not going to tolerate that. What happened? He subbed off Lindelof based on that, I think, because he blamed Lindelof for that. And he did a game-changing substitution yesterday. And we got to see what Serge Regulion is all about. Because that partnership, Serge Regulion and Garnacho, was a game-changer, according to my opinion.
Yeah, it was. And it shows what a good manager Ten Hag is. And he is a very good manager. Of course, he's made mistakes. As Pep, he's even made mistakes. He'll admit that. Every manager makes mistakes, you know, and that was 7 wins out of 9 games. So, or was it 6 out of 8 and 7 out of 9 if we beat Bournemouth? We won 6 games out of 8. So we're building something. And along the journey, we're going to make mistakes. Yeah. And we're going to fall asleep. But you can see the consistency creeping into the team, winning games more consistently. But we still have those errors, you know, which bigger, more prepared teams will punish us for, like a Bayern of this world or Man City will punish us for. You know, we need to stay awake 100%. I mean,
they need more espresso.
Yeah, like us. Yeah, I just feel like we haven't taken advantage of this season because no one is performing this season to the levels. And I felt like we gave Man City too much respect on that day. I thought we could have taken them to the sword, you know, just like Villa did last night. I just feel like we need to believe in ourselves a little bit more, you know, and have more confidence and attack the team a lot more because we got 75,000 fans at Old Trafford. Yeah. Intimidate them and, you know, start believing in themselves a little bit more and wake up because some people are blaming Onana for the goal. I'm not too sure.
No.
The goal trickled in. We can't keep blaming
it was, if you look back, it was Lindelof's very soft. Lindelof was back in action. So.
He may be the weak link in regards to yesterday's performance. We may need another defender in there, I believe. When Martinez comes out, it'd be a lot better. But Luke Shaw, again, immense as a left-sided centre back. And Antony, the last 2 games, I'm sorry, but he's been fantastic. Fantastic.
I mean, despite the setback, then I think Dalot emerged as the player of the first half. Like he was immense. We're talking about Diego Dalot. Like, you know, he was dominating that right hand side. Like he was going forward, and I could understand, like in aftermath, why he picked him over Aaron Wan-Bissaka, because that was my critique. Like, why you're not starting Aaron Wan-Bissaka? Why are you starting Dalot? Now, Dalot is going to fall asleep. Blah blah blah. But no, if you're looking at. Our fullbacks were bombing forward. The overlaps, the underlaps, the wingers was live and active. The partnership worked well with Antony and Dalot. Superb. I would say superb. So for me, the aftermath is I'm very pleased that, you know, Ten Hag got it right. You know, he identified the mistake. He listened to himself. He got the mojo back. No, I'm not going to do the same mistake. I'm going to do the substitution. I'm going to correct what's missing right here, right now. Because that's the mistake what he did against Newcastle, according to my opinion. He let the same team start that didn't work. And this is what sort of put me back into, I'm 100% in. I back this manager, right? Which I always did, but I put myself on the doubt to put pressure because I want to see him change. I want to see the team respond. And yesterday was a response, guys. Big up for everyone that's coming into the VAR room. Let's shout them out. Mark, who do we have here early and nice in the morning, drinking coffee, stretching the legs? Who do we have here to shout out? We have Compost Smurf.
He's coming in. Jemba and Cleverson looked mint in the Chelsea midfield last night, over 200 million.
Yes, Casado and 100%.
Ivo Basic is coming in. He says, Don't be fooled by McTominay's 2 goals. We are still far too open in the midfield.
100%. I agree with you, Ivo Bostic, and we talked about this in the post-match reaction yesterday. McTominay, or whatever you call him, McTominay, he's not the future. You know, it's paper of the cracks, and I still want McTominay to be sold, right? Because we need better. We need definitely. Mark finally played.
Wasn't that we finally played 10.5 players for once? We dropped Rashford. Yeah, 100%. You know, and Jarvis Cocker is coming. Big up to Jarvis. He's always on early. You know, Amrabat was great, but I would say the wide players for one, with the ones that track back with aggression and determination, made Sofyan's job much easier. I agree with
100%. 100%. No, this is Jarvis sending me this message. Driving in his Tesla, as per usual. Big up to you, Jarvis. Mine is 13 degrees in northern Norway. He always sends me this message. You're not case. Sal, I'm gonna stop there, backtrack, and talk about Rashford. Was it the answer basically to put him on the bench, but still, you have to take him on in without getting scrutinized by the media, because you know how it would be, right? But I thought it was the right move to bench Rashford yesterday. Yeah,
I believe so. I believe it was in. I mean, being hypothetical, and in hindsight, it's a beautiful thing, as they say. You know, it's, you know, you get it right, then everyone's bullying you. He gets it wrong, you know, then everyone's saying, oh, you dropped Rashford, blah, 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 and it's all doom and gloom. I feel for Rashford, I do. I mean, but I've always said, I feel he's more of an impact player. I've said it for a long time. He comes on with pace, and he has more impact. Last season, I think Casemiro and Martinez, they made the game a lot more, you know, more forward pressing, bringing the ball out from the back, and maybe Rashford had more chances. And I absolutely agree with the McTominay point. McTominay's not the future, we know. But at the moment, if he's giving 100% and he's doing what the manager says to do, you know, you have no choice. And maybe that's the thing. Maybe it's the attitude is the problem. Maybe that's the problem with when we had Mourinho and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Maybe the attitude was the problem, and McTominay was the only one really listening to what the manager has to say. But we were too open.
The good pupil.
Yeah, he's a teacher's pet, isn't he? But we were too open in midfield. Chelsea could have scored a couple of goals, especially at the end. We were a bit lucky with some of their final balls, but when we come up against Bayern and Liverpool, we've got to do something. I would even stretch to say play one more in midfield just to keep it solid. You know, maybe play Manu, McTominay, Amrabat in that midfield.
That's for Anfield for 100%. I want to continue on the second half aftermath, because even 1-1 up and even us dominating, the bookies still have Chelsea as a favorite to win the game. Everyone said, nah, you're going to get baptized, but Chelsea, what happened? Second half, of course, guys, Mark, as well. United came on. Of course, we did the game-changing substitution. We talked about, like, you know, Lindelof getting swapped for Regulion. We started the game a little bit off the gas, allowing them to play the game, like, you know, inviting it to pressure. But I saw something in the 57th minute. We're starting to form that shape that won us the game, right? The notable change was Serge Regulion doing that partnership, like, you know, with, you know, Garnacho. Garnacho was immense on that left wing, showed Marcus Rashford what a left wing is supposed to be. Sofyan Amrabat all of a sudden had more of a, you know, general's captain's role in that middle, right? You know, Roy Keane role, right? He was dictating the play. He was the tank Sherman. You know what I mean? He was there everywhere. But he allowed everyone to kind of get forward, and they, you know, spraying balls left, right, center. But it was a great balance to see, because if you saw, like, you know, the fullbacks was bombing forward, forming the partnership. The wide play was there, the old United way as well, which meant that, you know, even if you had Rasmus Hojlund there doing what Rasmus Hojlund did, he didn't score any goals, but he enabled the wide play. He enabled everything to flow around it, right? That's what I saw. So for me, that like, you know, led to us dominating from the 57th to the end of the game. We saw it through, right? Good substitutions as well, right? But however, there was some in the 61st minute, like, there was some controversial moment when Luke Shaw hit the hard ball, and they hit it was kind of a little bit of a handball. If you remember the VR, you know, would it be a handball? Would it be? There was a clear check over. I think the VR was really good. Kavanagh was good. But Scott McTominay got finally his goal, his second goal. Great Scott in the 68th minute, right? From assist from Garnacho again, guys. So in all, like, the team was working for each other. There was the Ten Hag mantra, like, we attack as a team, we defend as a team, we carry ourselves with pride, we wear the shirt. So that was the main point, the takeaway for me that I wanted to see, the grit, the fight, determination, the unity. So I'm going to bring it back to you, Sal, because Marcus Rashford entered the fray in 83rd minute, replacing who?
Yeah, Garnacho, wasn't it? He replaced.
No, he didn't replace Garnacho, and that was the beautiful things to do. He left Garnacho on, he left Antony on, but he took Hojlund off, and he placed.
Oh yes.
And he placed Hojlund in the. Yeah. So what's that telling you? What's that telling you? Rashford, you cannot get a game on the right. You can't not get a game on the left. Where should we put Rashford? So
This is the issue. This is the issue. This is the problem. He's on £350,000 a week.
Work
and he's
harder than last time.
Yeah, work harder than last time. But the problem is Ten Hag going to stick to his guns? This is the thing. Is he going to stick to that team? Is he going to have pressure from the top to play Rashford because he's on so much money? And he's just signed a new contract. Yeah, so he's the golden boy, isn't he? And this is the sort of thing we need to sway away from. Rashford should be on the bench for the time being, and when other players don't perform, then he'll get his chance. It should be like that. We need to be ruthless like that. But I agree. Ten Hag's in-game management yesterday was spot on. And it showed. I thought Garnacho was, as I say, going to come off because he looked off his feet. He looked knackered yesterday.
Oh, he worked his socks off.
He was running non-stop.
Mark, that's what I was trying to say here. Do you agree with Sal? Because the substitution was spot on from Ten Hag yesterday. Normally, he would take off like for like. He would take off like, Sofyan Amrabat for Kobe Main or something. He kept them on. He kept... I mean, I thought, okay, here we go, Rashford. Who's going to take out? Oh, no. Don't tell me he's going to take out Antony for Rashford, or don't tell me he's going to take out Garnacho for Rashford. He actually took off Rasmus Hojlund because Rasmus was also knackered. Now, I felt it was sad because he didn't get much service yesterday. Like, he would have the ball on his feet. They were spraying balls way over his head. So I think that was a clear message to say to Rashford, look, you ain't going to get a game here unless you step up, right?
100%. And, like Sal mentioned before, and Jarvis is touching on here, attitude. Attitude is important.
Attitude.
You know what I mean? And you have to have a hungry and never say die winning attitude. You have to want this. You can't come on the field and just because you're supposed to be there. There's no give-ons, especially at Manchester United. And I think I was extremely happy with the in-game management yesterday. Not only the substitution, but I think the tactics during the course of the game, I'm not sure if anyone noticed, but there were points in the game where Amrabat just stuck his foot on the ball, and him and Luke Shaw and Regulion, they played a few passes, slowed the game down, bring the tempo back down, and then, they sent it out wide, and then the tempo went back up. So it was like a lot of change in pace during the game, which was really good. I thought that helped control the flow of Chelsea's attack. It broke their rhythm up. I also think that the substitution of Sergio Regulion impacted the team heavily.
Absolutely.
Especially Garnacho. You know what I mean?
Especially.
You know what I mean? When he came on, I think that same breakthrough that Sofyan Amrabat was having also was attributed to Sergio Regulion, because if you notice the first half, Cole Palmer, one of the guys mentioned in the chat just now that Cole Palmer was dragging Amrabat away. He was dragging him wide, creating a space in midfield. When Sergio Regulion came on, he kind of was forcing himself on the wing so that it had no way for Cole Palmer to drag Amrabat anywhere. So he was just in the midfield, and Chelsea had to change up and they didn't know what to do. So I think Ten Hag deserves some plaudits for the in-game management and the way his tactics were yesterday, because he did everything well yesterday. 100%.
True. And that brings me up to this slide here, what I tweeted yesterday, guys. And at the end of the result, a solid performance, response from the team and the manager, 2-1. And the man of the match, according to my opinion, was Amrabat. This was from Old Trafford. This was from Alien Tenor that sent it to me yesterday. Brilliant, because that's the scoreboard that we wanted. But that scoreboard could have been 3-1 because of Bruno penalty miss. And Mick Ruby would have had his roses because Mick Ruby predicted 3-1 as per usual and spin the wheel. But it could have been more. It could have been more. And to summarize at the end of the day, guys, let's bring me this up to the stage as well. Sal as well. Look at this. And Aston Villa stunned Manchester City yesterday, 1-0 victory. So the gap to the top 4 right now, to the 4, is 3 points. Not a bad day at the office, according to Mr. Ruby here as well. We're currently sitting on 6th. We're back on. But look what Manchester City is on 30th. So who would have thought that against all odds, beating the press guys?
Well, Mick, a lot has been said earlier on this season about the performance of the team, the performance of the manager, his capabilities, if he's good, if his suit is too big for him, the job is too big for him. Some people even said that he can't manage a bigger house. He used to like medium-sized houses. So I think, as any manager would need time. Time is the only tell-all for everything, especially in sports like this. And a manager, sometimes you might be lucky. You might have some players that hit the ground running with the system you introduce them because, they just happen to suit their style. But sometimes you're not lucky and you have to build slowly, So I think much has to be given and respect has to be given to our manager when he's doing well, admits the toxicity, admits all the pressure, and he's finding ways to win. And he's doing it in style, you know what I mean? So you have to be happy for that as a fan.
No, 100% Sal. I think you agree with that as well, what he's saying there, what Mark is saying there at the end of the day, he's silent. He adjusted certain things. He banned certain media outlets not to come in and spread any false rumors. He hired the best contractor in Greater Manchester United to fix that leak, the best plumber you can have. And basically, that's what it is, silence of the lamb. And off we go, because we need to focus on the pitch matches rather than off the pitch matters as well. It's been way too much. So I think he's getting more authoritarian. I think he's claiming his stake to say, I'm in control. You know what I mean? So yesterday for me was a pivotal moment where he sort of changed things around. He started with the press conference, to be honest.
Yeah, and that resonates throughout the squad. If they see that on the television and they see Ten Hag being like ruthless like that, they think, "Whoa, this man means business." And he's coming out swinging, to be honest. He hasn't crumbled, and he's defending himself, and that's showing for me personality. And things take time. We're in like a time when we're always comparing. He should have a playing style, but now look at Pastor Koglu at Tottenham. Blah blah blah. It's like you need to be patient. Everything is different. Everything is different. Certain styles of football take time. And we've had a few people, Ten Hag out, which is I think is going to be there to. I think it's going to slap him in the face. To be honest, all these people are saying Ten Hag out because I believe he's the right guy. I've been watching football long enough to know he's alone because I can't see anyone replacing him. It's going to take time. People forget also the mess we were in when he took charge. We were in an absolute mess.
Shit show,
worst team in 40 years. Yes, he's going to have some problems. He's had a lot of problems this season, and we've actually had bad results, and we've actually had certain things that have gone against us. But it's like sort of everything will fall to place. The cream will rise to the top. When he sort of dropped Rashford and players like that, last season, Rashford, I think, pulled wool over his eyes. And we know what Rashford's about. We know Rashford will perform one season. Next season, he won't perform. So hopefully...
I call Rashford... It's funny that you say, because, Mark, you remember, I always call Rashford every second season player.
Yeah, and it's like for me, it's weird because Rashford is always like he's good one season, then the next season he's off it. It's too up and down. I think something needs to change. I think he needs to look at himself and change his things. I don't know whatever is his lifestyle or his partying style, his sleeping style, but something needs to change.
Jarvis Cocker mentioned something earlier, regarding I had it up earlier, like what happened to that. Jarvis said, that. What was it? For Rash go ahead.
For Rash to secure a spot in this team, he must adjust his playing style as we are progressing, while Rashford seems to remain stagnant. Unfortunately, he lacks the necessary elements in his skill set. You know, I can agree with that to an extent.
Yeah, in a way, that's what you mentioned there. Like, you know, last season was overachievement from Rashford's side. Like, you know, I think he hit his ceiling there, like, you know, 30 goals. And I think he set his expectations high for himself, too much pressure on himself. He got that 375k contract, which made him a little bit complacent and a little bit of a big head. And the only way right now is just to sit him on the bench and make him want me. It's like that song, like, I don't know who sings that. I want you to want me. I need you to need me. I'm begging you. Yeah, didn't I see you crying? That song, right? You know which song, without being done by copyrighted.
I think it might be before my time, but yeah, I don't know if it's
Anyway.
No, but what I would say, what would say is that, you know, class players like Ryan Giggs, who was a left winger, right? He adjusted his game technically and he started playing in the middle of the park. That is what players do. That is what class players do. They can adjust their game. And Jarvis is spot on, because I don't think Rashford has any backup plan. When it's not pace, what does he have? You know, this is the thing. Can he adjust his game? You know, this is the problem with Marcus Rashford at the moment.
I think it's getting beat. I mean, defenders in the Premier League say, well, Marcus Rashford was the hardest player that they could defend against because he was fast, he had pace. But I think that everyone has found out his game, and you can see that clearly he's running into brick walls at the moment, right? Because they're ganging up on him, 2-3 players against Marcus Rashford. And what happens? They know he's predictable. He's like a crash test dummy, like, you know that crash test car, right? He does the same thing over and over again, like, you know, and boom. At least what you see with Antony dos Santos, he kind of acknowledged that people found out that he's going to cut in, he's going to go on his left. Now he's starting now to go to the right as well. So that's, you got to elevate, you got to change, and you got to be less predictable, according to my opinion. So big up to you. Like going back to what you're saying about about Ten Hag and it is a rebuild. And I agree with what Gattusi's always saying.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
And that's what you're gonna get, like, you know. But people say, oh, look what Postecoglou is doing, look what that one is doing. We have no patience in this fan base. We don't have. But please do expect sometimes very good, sometimes very shit, right? But yesterday, unfortunately, it was good. And hopefully this leads us to kick forward on that bike, 100% to go on the run, because we do have Bayern Munich. Who else do we have? Anfield on the 16th.
Liverpool. We have Bournemouth on Saturday, so that's first. So I think it's one game at a time. We play the team in front of me. Yeah, and Bournemouth has been good. So we play the team ahead of us, and we go again. Like, we don't need to be looking too far ahead. Anfield is on the 17th. You know, that's 2 games away from now. I think it's too far to look at that game.
Yeah,
I think what we can do is look at our current form is more consistently better than it is bad, and we hope for a good game against Anfield. We hope for the team to turn up, but in the meantime, let's knock out Bournemouth, let's slap up Bayern, and then let's worry about Anfield, because that's always going to be one of those bookie games. You know, those games where, you know, you win or lose, and because, you know, that's like our league rival, basically. You know what I mean? Yeah, City's our city rival.
Yeah, I just bring in that before we move on, Mark, as well. At the end of the day, a little bit conscious of time. You know, of course, Spurs haven't played today. Newcastle's playing today, I think, as well. But currently, he ain't looking so bad. Like, you know, basically, we thought 3 points behind City. They're currently sitting on 30 points, and we are 27. So, yeah, it's very important games ahead of us before Christmas. If we can get a run of form, get us up into top 4, we can have a little bit of a Christmas turkey and break and move on. So, Mark, what do we have in store for us today in terms of other news?
Yeah, I just have a few articles. One here about Antony, where he was, you know, talking about the slander he has been receiving, and, you know, just the way the reports have been going. And he's like, you know, the malicious pundits, they always talk about and they criticize him, and they don't know how it affects a player. You know what I mean? And he went on to say that, you know, when you're having these pundits slam you, you know what I mean? You know, the criticism is coming from former club players and other people in the media who unreasonably express their opinions, in his opinion. You know, I've never seen them give constructive criticism, which will help me be a better professional. None of them have ever sent me a message to see how I'm feeling, especially during this period of turbulence and what I'm going through. The digital court is ruining lives.
Yeah, big up for you for that, man. Mark, Sal, listen, players, it's getting an open season to hunt for those journalists and reporters because one by one has come out and started to express themselves. Even Sofyan Amrabat came out and defended Erik Ten Hag yesterday as well. There was a brilliant statement that he said, like, you know, he's one of the best in the business and the reason why I'm here, right? So, and players are answering to the critics because basically enough is enough, right? They do read social media, as you said. People read your posts as well. So talk to us regarding that one. This is your field.
Yeah, social media-wise, Instagram, they're always on Instagram. When I post a couple of stories, even last night before the game, Garnacho looked at my story, you know, and this is the thing. They do read social media, you know, so you got to look at being careful what you say because it does hurt the human beings at the moment, at the end of the day. Of course, they're not as like in my day growing up, we had the Keens of this world, etc. You know, so they're not as, you know, accustomed to hate as they were. But then social media went out back then. Who knows what it would have been like? We all know what happened with David Beckham, how he was slandered, you know, 100%. Ridiculously slandered, but he took it, you know, and he. I mean, when you look back now, how would certain players react to that? Antony has been through a lot. People forget that he was almost behind bars a couple of months ago, you know. So you know that guy was
smeared basically. He was
smeared, and people were judging him, you know. And obviously, we have certain factors within the fan base and the media because he's not British that they're going to give it to him more. He's guilty already. Forget it. He's guilty. Of course he's guilty. He's Brazilian. But that's what they're like. And unfortunately, this is the fact. And it's the same with Greenwood and etc. But Antony is starting to, firstly, he done well last season. People are jumping on now he was a flop. He wasn't. He done well in our system. He was good. And he done well last season. I'm glad that he's starting to, you know, show his talents once again.
Speaking about Greenwood, what I would expect from Greenwood in this situation, especially when he was proven innocent, is to bloody go out and just make a statement, you know, make an interview with Harriet, and just, they never happened. So that was the calamity of the fired CEO, Richard Donald, that handled this mess. So basically what happened there, because he came back to Ten Hag and said, you can have Greenwood back because we're done with our internal investigation, HR, no charges. He hasn't breached anything, but then he caved in for the minority of the moral compass. So that was his downfall. So it's an asset. He's doing great at Getafe. At the end of the day, would you have him back in January? Question mark.
No. I'll wait. I'll leave him in Spain. As I said before, let him enjoy the culture. Come back in the summer.
True.
That's my opinion.
Anyway,
yeah.
Big up to you, mate. Next on the plate, what do we have here? Neil Ashton, what you going to spin here?
Well, the only thing I'm going to mention right now is this. And, you know, we talked about the defense. We talked about the good games that we've been having. And recently, this guy has been immense. And as much as some of us might think, you know, he might not be the guy to take us forward, he is the guy for right now. And Harry Maguire has, you know, earned Premier League Player of the Month for November. And he's been playing really well. And in yesterday's game, I think he was aces. I think he didn't put a foot wrong. I think he did, you know, more than his share yesterday, and I would like to commend him for that. You know what I mean? I think it's a lesson to all younger players. You know, when you look at the performance of Harry Maguire recently, after all the stick he's been getting, he was the man dropped from the team, isolated, you know, training and just watching everybody start while he was captain on the bench, while the team won trophies and they did really well last season. So the guy didn't complain. He didn't cry about it. He put his head down. This summer, everyone heard that he has been training with Ricardo Carvalho, and I'd say that training is paying off right now. You know, because his awareness has been much better. You know, his proactivity, you know, has been 100%. Instead of taking steps back, he takes steps forward, and it makes his challenging better. You know, I think hats off to the guy.
He's playing for his contract. He's playing for a team. So big up to that man of the match. Who would have thought that Sal? You know, that deserves a round of applause. Take him out. I put my hand up because I was his biggest critic as well. And I'm still remaining his biggest critics. I want him to do well. The question is he for the future? Is he the one that you will sell next summer or this January window? Because currently he's playing up his contract, same with Scott McTominay. I'm always looking at the team, like, I always look at to improve the team. So there's got to be some sacrificial slams.
Yeah, I think he will survive. I think he will survive. I think
Lindelof
will survive. I set you up for that one. I think Lindelof is the next one out the door. If it's going to be defenders, Lindelof has been poor. He's been sluggish and passive. I haven't seen him have a good game for a while either. He just looks a little bit unfit to me. I'm not sure what it is, but I think Lindelof will be the next. If we're going to sell a defender, we probably sell one, so it probably will be Lindelof.
So you think that
Maguire deserves his spot?
Yeah. So you deserve. You think even if we, even reports saying that Rafael Varane is injured again, and they came out yesterday. Is there any truth in it?
Who knows? And we don't want to speculate, but it seems a bit of a coincidence, doesn't it?
I think it's. For me, my opinion. Rafael Varane, a fit Rafael Varane, currently is the best defender we have in the team. Yeah. But I think it's time to part ways because the injury prone and the availability they offers to the squad, 100%. I will offload him in January and get in a Todibo or something younger for the future. Yeah. I definitely would keep Maguire, but not as a starter. Keep him as a third, fourth choice, because you still got to remember that Leach is coming back in January as well. And Leach and Varane was the partnership, right? I don't see if Leach and Harry Maguire could fit each other. I don't know. Could they?
And who's that? I think so. I think they have to. They have to fit each other. But one thing I would say about Maguire, just one more thing, is that he's shown what a true professional is. Against adversity. When things don't go your way, you don't just give up. You carry on fighting. And that's a message to players like Sancho, players like that. You don't just cry about it. You get on with it, and you try and prove them wrong. You should use criticism as motivation. That's what you should do.
Yeah.
100%, Sal, 100%. 100%.
Jarvis Cocker is saying the Maguire narrative is truly incredible against all odds. It is beating the press, what we are here on this channel. Beating the press. He battled his way back. He's a true embodiment of mental strength. Yes. Mental strength never seems to get to, he never seems to, they call him Slabhead, right, for some reason. But it never gets to him. He is always bigging himself up. I don't need to prove myself. I don't need that. So he's definitely have a big ego and a will. Because I remember even in the summer, he went away for boot camp training for 3 weeks by himself with a personal trainer. And it's I'm going to fight for my pride, for my place. You got to fight. Do it for your rights. You know what I mean? So, yeah, big up Jarvis as well. What else do we have here at the end of the show? Or what do we have left? How many stories left, Mark?
Well, this is basically the last story. I'm saving all the transfer rumors for tomorrow because it's Friday, guys. It's just something to make sure that you enjoy your weekend. But this is the most important story for me as we start
the show. This is the headline of this
is the headline.
Show.
Crisis, not for us. Erik Ten Hag can see Man United progress after Chelsea win. And the manager has been saying, last week we played 3 games, a 3-0 win at Everton, a 3-3 draw at Galatasaray, and a Newcastle match. Two games we played really well, and one bad one, But you see this team is in a good direction. I know sometimes you have bad performances, but then still you can get a good result. That's the next step we have to make, And this comes on the back of the United manager banning a few press and journalists from their meeting rooms, sessions, and press conferences due to the reports that have been coming out that have been malicious towards the club.
What a way to finish. This is actually the headline of this show today as well. Crisis. What crisis? What are you talking about? Sal, do you agree?
I don't think it's a crisis, no, because I've seen worse. I've supported United since the late 80s, so it's a bit.
Play the devil's advocate here.
Yeah, so but
Chelsea should talk about crisis, not us.
They're the ones who should be talking about crisis. They spent $1 billion since last January.
Boom.
So they're the ones. About that one. Yeah, they're the ones who should be on a crisis. Pochettino seems to get let off. I don't know why. He's a media pet. Media pet, probably. Just they like him, Pochettino. He's nice with the media. He's our friend.
You like.
Blah blah blah. But I don't mind, playing the devil, so to speak, in regards to this. I don't care if we're against the media. It's us against the world, and we should use that to our advantage.
Bro, remember when we were looking for a new manager when we sacked Oli, right? The media's pets was like they were pushing for the Pochettino agenda. Oh, he's one of us. They love Poch, right? As soon as we got Ten Hag, they were shitting the pants because they knew what authoritarian, the tracksuit manager, what he can do, right? But they've been hating it because they don't want Manchester United to do well. They even said that in the press conference. They asked Ten Hag in the press conference, "We like when you guys are losing." And I was like, "Excuse me."
He let it slip, didn't he? I don't think he wanted to say that. I think he let it slip a little bit. But what disappoints me the most is that people who wanted Pochettino are not changing the narrative. They are sticking with the Ten Hag gate, and that includes the United fan base. I hate to think where all these people will go when we are successful. What they're going to talk about then. Because this is the thing. They've jumped on this hate so much. When we actually start being successful, who they're going to moan about next?
Okay,
because we will come
maybe
back.
the 115 charges might be next.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh yeah. Just want to finish up with something beautiful, really, really nice. I have it in my archive. This is Mick Ruby classic anyway. My creative mind.
I need you to promise me that you'll be on your best behavior.
I promised other people that I'd be on my worst behavior. And I gave my word, so...
Don't make me fire you.
You can't fire me. You're acting manager, not office manager, so you have no firing powers.
Don't make me pre-fire you.
You wouldn't dare.
Watch this. You're pre-fired. And when I'm promoted, you'll be full fired.
If you get promoted. And if you haven't fallen in love with me by then.
What?
It's taken from The Office. Harry Maguire, you proved us wrong. You made the manager fall in love with you. He's not going to get fired. I made this in the summer, guys, and it's still trending. That's beautiful, beautiful, right? So that's the aftermath, in my opinion. I put my hand up and I said I was wrong. I wanted him to be sold, but he proved us wrong. And the same application goes with the manager. Same application goes with the team. They are clearly fighting for the team. They're fighting for the manager, but it's too early to say. What I want from now is to see consistency, week in, week out, right?
100%. And, I don't really have a final presentation, but my final words, I would just say this, show the picture, because this is how I always feel 100% every day. And I know everyone, all the United fan base would agree with me. This is what we need. And guys, this has been the news from us. You know what I mean? What can we say? Aftermath of a great game, we could do better next time.
So any final words from you, my friend?
Well, as I said, we got to put United back in Manchester United, and we need to start uniting against what matters and not against each other. As a fan base, if we stick together, we will get there. We're the biggest club in the world, and just start believing in this manager and stop the knee-jerk reactions and Glazers out, as Mark said, always 100% every day.
Thank you, sir. Glazers out, green and gold until we announce the sold, and that doesn't seem to come any sooner, according to Klettenberg and all them reports, to be honest. Guys, listen, later on, for you that are a member, I released a video, a full day of behind the scenes of working, and just for you to understand the brutalness of being a content creator. It's just not press play, record. It is a full day of working behind the scenes. You know how it is to make 3 shows a day. I'll release that to the public, but for now it is only for members only. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. If you want to become a member, there's a little button there. You can be a member only for 99 pence or whatever it's called. It's cheap, but subscribing is free, liking is free. And look out for that video. It's called Full Day United, guys. You will enjoy that one because it's me running around here in Thailand, speaking to random people, showing you how it is to prepare the content, to be honest, guys. Anyway, stay beautiful, people. Have a lovely day. It's not Friday, but tomorrow is Friday. So I heard Vladimir Putin is in Abu Dhabi.
Is he really? Oh,
yeah, he is, yeah. Yes.
Yeah. He's here a lot. Apparently,
yep.
He was here last year as well. So yeah. Just gonna go out and have a good time. That's it. It's Friday.
Have a good time. All right, guys.
Have a good time.
Listen,
man.
You guys have a good time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Go check out SAL WARNER as well on Stretford Post on Twitter. People, again, I cannot stress more than enough. SAL is a brilliant, what do I call you? Advocate for Manchester United. So where can people find you as per usual?
Stretford Post, everywhere. Stretford Post, spelt normally.
Yep. Guys, look forward to see you later and have a beautiful day. Glory, glory, Manchester United. Glazes out, bankers out, green and gold until we're sold. Bye for now. Cheers.
Thank you so much for stopping by and watching MUFC Realist TV. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us on the socials.